For a while now, I've really wanted a throttle prop and mixture TPM USB control device for flight sims, really since I started playing Aerofly FS2 in VR and now obviously Microsoft Flight Simulator. But the choice has been slim out there. Now, you know, there's been the Saitek one that came out years ago. Unfortunately, they don't make it anymore. Now, if they still had the tooling, I think it's Logitech now, I'm sure they would have made a bit of a killing if they re-released that for Microsoft Flight Sim. And it goes for ridiculous prices on eBay. And there are a few other options. There's some sort of homebrew options that don't look too great, and then there's some really expensive ones. I mean, you know, you're looking at the Redbird one after shipping to the UK and stuff, you're probably looking at the best part of £600-700 maybe. Then you've got the Virtual Fly one, the normal one, the Plus, and again you're looking, you know, 700 to over to a grand or so, a lot of money. Right, waffle out of the way, what I've gone for is this, I guess another homebrew one from Flight Sim Stuff. 3D printed, it's got flap control and a trim control, which is pretty awesome. So I'm not big into unboxings and stuff. The reason I'm just going to unbox it here is because it's not a big company. I like to see how stuff like this is packaged. It's come from the US. So yeah, I'm just going to get it open. We'll see how well it's packaged up and we'll go from there. Okay, box inside another box. That's fair enough. That's some nice packaging, that is. Thank you for your purchase. No, thank you. Cable here, USB-A or whatever to B, is that, I believe. We're getting there, we're getting there. I could have done this a quicker way, I'm sure. Smell of printed plastic. Get this all out of the way. Okay, and here we go. Here's the device from Flight Sim Stuff. So yeah, 3D printed. There's two variations into how you can mount this. I've bought the one that comes with holes with already fitted 5mm threads on both sides. You know, it's not a perfect finish, it is 3D printed, but this is cheap for what you're getting. I mean, 150 for the device and the rest was shipping. Fantastic. Feels pretty nice, sturdy, nothing loose in there. So yeah, so there's this one with the holes. Not much use for me, but the other option was a clamp. It comes with a hole here, you push a clamp into. But that's no good for me because my Warthog slides up and down here depending where I need it. Or if I need it in the middle of me, to the side of me, or just completely out the way if I'm using the yoke. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it with a bit of 3M jaw lock. I'm just going to put, you only need tiny bits, really strong. Just I'll have a bit in the corners here and put it down. And I shouldn't need to move it, but if ever I did, it'd be easy just to lift it off. So here we are, so we've got a trim wheel. Yeah, it's not too loose, it's got some resistance to it, so I think you'll be able to be quite precise with the movements there. Same with the throttle. Again, yeah, it's all 3D printed. Now it doesn't have the vernier or whatever abilities, you know, like the really expensive ones do, so you don't need to push the buttons in to push and pull them. You can't rotate them for micro movement. I don't really need that. That's a lot of money if you want that, the Redbird or the Virtual Fly stuff. This is literally just push-pull. Yeah, pretty sturdy, hardly any movement, tiny bit, but in practice, not going to notice that, I wouldn't have thought. There we go, nice. I wondered if it'd be too loose in there, but there's a nice amount of resistance to it. I like that. And we've got a flaps button, which is like a momentary switch or whatever, so you just, not different positions, it's, you know, for up and down. Okay, yeah, pretty nice. Pretty nice. I tell you the measurements of it. I won't bother weighing it, but obviously it's pretty light, there's not a lot to it, it's all plastic, you know. So if we measure it the full width, you're looking at 305mm, or just a tad over 12 inches, about a foot, about 12 inches, but 305mm. The back section, 235mm, 9¼ inches, and front to back, 146, 147mm, 5¾ inches, and just the trim itself is 77mm, 3 inches. There we go. Yeah, if you need to know the height, why not? Let's give you the height. It's like 48mm, just under 2 inches, and the trim at 98, 99mm, just under 4 inches. There we go. So that gives you all of that. In fact, just in case, I'll give you the front to back, including the longest knob, 300mm. There you go. Just under 12 inches. Right, so I'll waffle in there with the sizes. So yeah, I'm going to get it put on here. The idea is also this is going to be, you can see I've got a mouse mat here. This will replace that. I need very little movement. I'll probably get a little bit of material to stick on here that's better for the mouse. So let's get it stuck on and in game and see how she feels. Okay, so we're on the runway here at Farnborough in a little Cessna 152. Obviously we don't have a prop control, but that's not a problem. We're just going to use throttle and mixture, flaps, and of course the trim control. Now let's just turn this out the way. Let's look down at the trim and you can see as I roll it up. Beautiful. Throttle there and mixture. Oh sorry, that's prop, isn't it? There's mixture and of course flaps. Now to set this up, it does tell you on Flight Sim Stuff's website, but trim needs to be assigned to -100 to 100% elevator trim, and throttle is 0 to 100, prop is 0 to 100, mixture is -100 to 100. All of them standard, don't click reverse. It looks like you should have reverse, like when you push them in the bar goes full, but no, you want it the other way around. When you push them in the bar's empty. So you don't tick reverse on any of them. You do need to calibrate this first, okay? So you go to USB controllers, you just click on start menu, search USB game controller, and basically run through the calibration. Click on it in the list, properties, setting, calibrate. Now the important thing is you need this trim wheel in the middle. When it says make sure the handle, you know, it thinks you're doing joystick, is in the middle. It needs to be. So you've got to try and get where the middle is first, because I didn't initially, and it was just messed up in Flight Sim. It would go halfway and then jump. So you need that in the middle, and then, like it says, basically do what you're told, you know. I forgot to mention was what would be useful is once you've found the middle of your trim wheel, maybe put a little mark with some Tipex correction fluid or a white pen on the housing, and again actually on the middle of the wheel, like you see in an actual aircraft, you know, so when you've got it right there in the middle. It would be good if they did that before they sent it out, you know, they could do it probably quite nicely and they know where the middle is. It's just a little thing, it doesn't really make much difference for me in VR, but you know, if you're playing on flat screen, that'd be just an easy, quick little thing to do. So let's get moving. Don't worry too much about my flying here. You know, I just do it for fun and immersion. I'm no real well pilot. I can get up and down. That's the main thing, isn't it? Graphically, yeah, I'm sure this is going to be quite unpleasant to watch. It's going to be jerky footage. Now I'm using the Pimax 8KX on small field of view, which is still awesome. It's still 120 odd degrees or something, so it's still a nice improvement over the G2. I keep SteamVR Super Sample at about 70, and it's usually crystal clear, but I've actually lowered the VR render scale in game 80 to 80, just to try and smooth it a bit for recording. It's actually still pretty good in here, and it's pretty smooth for me. It's actually still pretty sharp, to be fair. I could actually play like this quite happily, and I'm sure with OBS off this would be a really smooth experience. And one thing I do hate is what is with the overexposure all of a sudden. Like if I'm looking up at these clouds here, it's just complete bright white. If I look away a bit, I can see blue sky up there again. It didn't used to be like this. Everything's washed out so bright. I thought Hotfix was going to sort that out, but no. Right, so there we go, flaps up. So now I love this trim wheel. So look, my nose is down. How quick you can be and accurate you can be trimming with this thing. What I've been using before is the trim buttons here, and they work. It's good on the honeycomb because it's like real, you've got to press both at the same time. But it takes a while when you go past where you want to be and stuff, but with this trim wheel, this is beautiful. You can be so quick, so accurate. Now, I have come across one problem, but it's a bit of a fault of the device and the sim, I suppose. Is say you're in the Cessna 172, okay? That has a trim wheel, but it also has the buttons on the yoke. Well, the buttons on the yoke make a click noise in game. But even though you're not using them, you're using the trim wheel, it keeps making the annoying clicking noise as these buttons move. So that's a real pain. Now that's the game's problem, that they're not separate. So that's really annoying because you can see the buttons move as you're turning the trim wheel and they're clicking. But the slight problem with this is there's a ever so slight jitter in the trim wheel. It's almost not noticeable in use like now, but when you move it, when you leave it alone in the 172, it quite often just keep clicking these buttons as it detects a minimal jitter. So that was quite frustrating. So that's why I've chosen this. Doesn't have buttons on the trim wheel, trim buttons on the yoke. So other than that though, I can't, these graphics, what has happened to this game? It's not just the Pimax, is it? Or is it everything in VR? I don't know. But yeah, so reduce throttle a little bit, nose up. This is fantastic because, you know, it takes a little bit of while of recentering VR to get the yoke in the right place. It never seems to be, you know, exactly where it should be. But, you know, I move myself and resetting it, so it's roughly in the right place. The throttle feels exactly where it should be, as does the flaps button. So that's awesome. I mean, I'm sure it's not, but in VR my body's putting 2 and 2 together. So we'll just touch down back at Farnborough. This is a great bit of kit. Yeah, and I need to go over the cost. I got the cost wrong earlier. So actually this, with the trim wheel, because you can buy it without the trim wheel for a little bit cheaper, but you know, get the trim wheel, it's awesome. It's like way too high, aren't I? It's like actually, yeah, 150 odd. The postage puts it up to around 200 quid, and then it was import duty and stuff that was 41 quid. So getting on just under 250 quid all in for a lovely bit of kit, because when you consider the alternatives, which are much more expensive, or there's one, maybe two of a lot lower quality, where instead of these it looks like it's got almost the knob of a wardrobe that you know, instead. What am I doing all the way up here? This is a complete cock up. Let's try and kill some speed. Drop like a stone. It is, the graphics, my god, they're so overexposed and washed out. I mean, I'm definitely on the latest version, or it wouldn't be working. It's a situation. I'm going to land it, I don't care. I wasn't paying any attention to height and stuff. We're going to get down. One way or another, you can always get down. That's one guarantee. So yeah, beautiful rendition of Farnborough Airport here. Bit of payware. But yeah, there's clearly still some issues to be sorted out. I've also noticed you've got to have parallel projection on, unfortunately, which is a massive performance killer. And with it on, if you've got night lighting, a lot of the panel lighting in various planes just doesn't show up or shows up in strips. So I don't tend to do much night flying in the Pimax. So that's a pain, but it's still the best headset for it. Okay, we managed to scrub off quite a lot of speed there. This is a complete cock up. I'm not even using this, but there we go. We got down. Little stall landing, smooth as silk. And there we have it. I'm just going to stop it on the runway, as you do. Pull out the mixture, and that'll end it, I imagine. So there you go, an awesome bit of kit for basically 250 quid or thereabouts to your door in the UK. And it was pretty quick, just took a few days to arrive. You can see it's well packaged up, well secure. And yeah, nice finish overall, 3D printed, sure, but yeah, it's a nice quality bit of kit. One thing I do want to point out, which I forgot to mention on setting it up, when you are calibrating this in the Windows USB game devices, don't pull these out too hard. There's a tiny bit at the end where when you let go, you can't really feel it, but obviously the computer can detect it, that if you pull it all the way out as hard as you can, when you then go in sim, it looks as if you almost need a bit of dead zone. So all you do is when you're calibrating them, just lightly grip here, it's the best way, and pull it out, and when your fingers start slipping, that's where you're at. So don't pull it out like this when you're calibrating, because you know you've got to move to fully each way. Just grab it by here lightly, pull it till your fingers slide. Does that make sense? And remember to get this in the middle before you start calibrating. Yeah, but otherwise, no real negatives on the thing. Yeah, it's pretty sturdy how I've got it mounted. As I said, a bit of dual lock under here, which does mean, you know, if you want to manipulate it, it can move a little bit. But it's really sturdy. Like I said, what I might end up doing is put a 3mm aluminium plate under it. You might wonder why 3mm, because they're 5mm nuts. If you've got a 5mm countersunk bolt, you need about 3mm to hide the countersunk to get it flush, if you know what I mean. Or I'll probably just leave it as is. It's awesome. I'd slide this about. This doesn't interfere. So yeah, really happy with it. So thank you, Flight Sim Stuff, for making a quality bit of kit. Wish I'd bought it sooner, really. So that'll do it for now. Any questions, just pop them down below and I'll answer when I can. Otherwise, I'll catch you later. Cheers.